Good morning. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the singing of the national anthem by vocalist Dr. Mark Brown. Graduation is a time of emotions. It's a time of happiness, sadness, excitement, and apprehension. A time to capture the emotions of this special time and bless all who warmly watch as their beloved marches with cap and gown towards the outstretched scroll of graduation. Please share with me this moment of reflection as we offer words of encouragement and rejoice today over the wonderful accomplishments of discipline, determination, self-sacrifice that has led to this day of college graduation. I invite you to bow your heads for a moment of reflection and encouragement. Father, we come today to celebrate all the accomplishments of our graduating students. They are getting ready to embark on the journey of a lifetime. We ask that you give them wisdom for this journey. We ask that you protect them and guide them in this journey. We pray that as they move forward in life, they will hear your voice, directing them to avoid the dangerous detours that will draw their attention. Father, you placed a champion inside each one of them, and you put an amazing destiny inside each one of them. Inspire them to stir up the determination, steadfastness, and zeal needed to achieve that destiny. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me as we sing. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Please be seated.
We will pause and allow a few of the attendees into the seating. Good morning. Good morning. That was such a rousing rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. That was wonderful. My name is Bill Ashley, and I have the pleasure of serving as president of Shelton State Community College. On behalf of college faculty and staff, I welcome each of you to the Spring 2018 Commencement. We recognize that today is an important day for each graduate as well as for their families and friends. We take pride, graduates, in your accomplishments, and we share your excitement. Congratulations on a job well done. It is my honor and privilege to be here with you to celebrate this momentous occasion. At this time, please silence your cell phones. I also bring greetings from the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees. I'm delighted to introduce today's vocalist, Tabitha Cooley. Tabitha is receiving her Associate's in Arts degree this morning. She has been an integral part of the Fine Arts Division of Shelton State for the past 3 years, performing as a member of both the Shelton Singers and the college's premier vocal ensemble, Bach to Rock. She has been named Shelton's Outstanding Music Student in each of her two of her last 2 years. Ms. Cooley was an Alanats semifinalist in 2016. She has translated the skills she has learned at Shelton State into a budding career as a performing soloist. Heard regularly around Tuscaloosa. In addition to her work as a musician, Tabitha has excelled academically, being awarded the Billy Sue Brown Scholarship. Let us welcome Ms. Tabitha Cooley for special music. Thank you.
There's been a change in me, a kind of moving on, though what I used to be, I still depend upon, for now I realize that good can come from bad. Oh, it makes me glad, and I never thought I'd leave behind my childhood dreams, but I don't mind, for now I love the world I see. No change of heart, a change in me. For in my dark despair, I slowly understood my perfect world out there had disappeared for good. But in this place I feel a truer life begin, and though it makes me glad, it must come from within, and I thought I'd never leave behind. a change in me.
That was wonderful. It is our honor to host Charles L. Chuck Carr as our speaker today. Dr. Carr is the Dean of the College of Engineering at the University of Alabama. In his 12 years as Dean, he has overseen impressive growth in enrollment, expansion in the faculty, extension of educational offerings, as well as the development of new teaching and research facilities. Passionate about helping young people realize their potential, Carr has worked to develop relationships across campus to broaden his academic experience for students studying engineering and computer science. He has also worked diligently on economic development issues across the state, in particular with the automotive and aerospace industries. He is a 3-time graduate of UA, completing his bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees in engineering. He has served the College of Engineering as an assistant professor, an associate professor, a full professor, the head of the Aerospace, Engineering, and Mechanics Department, associate dean for research, and now finally dean of the College of Engineering. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Chuck Carr to the stage.
All right, thanks so much. Let's see if you feel the same way once I get finished up here, huh? So, class of 2018. Congratulations. Man, what a celebration. You know, it's a celebration of your achievements in the classroom, your achievements in the laboratory, your achievements in the sports arena, the recital halls. It's a celebration of friendships made, obstacles overcome, getting outside your comfort zone. This is a great time. It's a great time for parents to feel this tremendous sense of pride in you, your family, to feel this tremendous sense of joy, and some of them a little relief, perhaps. It's a time for the faculty here at Shelton to revel in your success. I had the opportunity to stand in the greeting line as they were going through and to see the looks on their faces of their sense of pride. It was like one of their own children were going through here. You're getting a great, great education here at Shelton, and I applaud everything that's going on here. So this is really a time of transition for you. Some of you are going to transition on to 4-year school. Some of you will transition into work. Others of you will transition, well, somewhere, all right? But you need to have some little idea of this world you're transitioning into. Let me give you some thoughts on the world that you're moving into. The top 10 in-demand jobs for 2017. In 2010, those jobs did not exist. So in a sense, you have been being educated to do jobs that don't exist, using technology that hasn't been invented to solve problems that we don't even yet know are problems. The U.S. Department of Labor estimates that today's learner, you, by age 38, will hold 14 jobs. The top quarter of the percentage of people in India, their top performers, outnumbers the number of the people in the United States. Translation, India has more honors kids than we have kids. Last year, the people who were married in the United States, 1 out of 8, met online. And that may not be a big deal to you, but some of us older folks, that's quite a concept there. Twitter is currently seeing about 50 million tweets per day. That breaks down to about 600 tweets per second. My God, y'all got a lot to say. Or maybe not to say anything. 31 billion searches on Google every month. 31 billion searches on Google every month. Parents, before Google, who'd we ask all those questions to? This past year, we built a supercomputer. Its computational capacity surpassed the computational ability of the human brain. Estimates are that in 2049, $1,000 will buy you a computer that has more computational power than the entire human species. So you're transitioning into a world that's changing more rapidly than it ever has before in history. And I know that you want to make an impact there. So the question is it harder now than it used to be to have an impact on society? Let me tell you a story. There was this little girl, she was 6 years old, and she was having her first opportunity to go to the beach. And she was so excited. And she came up, and her mom brought her up, and they walked over a dune going to the beach, and as fate would have it, there had been a storm the day before, and literally thousands of starfish had washed up, and they were sitting on the beach. And there were a number of elderly people standing out there just horrified at the scene that was before them. They were paralyzed, dejected for seeing all this wasted life. So the little girl walks down to the beach, and she starts to pick up the starfish. And this older gentleman comes up to her and says, honey, don't you see what's going on here? There's absolutely no way you can make a difference. This is a catastrophe. The little girl looked the man right in the face, bent down, picked up a starfish, and flung it in the ocean. And she said, I made a difference for that one. Then the older people with her around her moved into action, and they began to pick up starfishes too. So the answer to my question is, it's the same today to have an impact as it's always been. You know, the truth of the matter is, several years ago, I was kind of having some internal struggles, and I was worried about whether I was having the kind of impact I felt I wanted to have. So I went to my guy, a guru, if you will. And I told him, I said, man, I got to have an impact. I'm not doing it. What's the deal? And he said, oh, you want to have an impact? You need to do two things. He said, I'm going to give you one of them today. You go do it, and then you come back later, and I'll give you the second one. I said, deal. So I looked at him, and he said, just do this. Go out and do a kindness for someone that can't possibly repay it. Totally blew my mind. I went home that night and I couldn't sleep because all I could think about was, my gosh, I got to go to Zimbabwe. Help them discover clean water over there for somebody who's struggling. And I dwelled on it day after day after day till about 3 or 4 days later, it kind of started fading as life got in the way. And at that point, I was actually volunteer coaching at a local high school here in town. And we were in the 3rd round of the state football playoffs. And oh my gosh, we were having to go on the road to play the vaunted Leroy Bears. 2-time state champions. Hadn't been held scoreless in their stadium for over 20 years. Well, this school where I was coaching, there it's actually a K through 12 school. So we're down there about o'clock in the morning. We're getting ready. We're having our pregame meal, and we're getting ready to get on the road to go down to Leroy. And so I would always sit down with my quarterback, make sure he understood what was going on, sit down with one of my key offensive linemen, talk to him about the checks he had to make. So I bring my all-state tackle over there, and I'm talking to him. And he's really distracted. He keeps looking behind him like this. And I said, hey, is this inconvenient for you for us to play tonight? You going to be able to get locked in or not? And he said, hey, I'll be right back. And I said, be right back. And I turned around and looked, and there was a kindergarten class over there. Because this K through 12 school, at the lunchroom, you'd find everything from seniors down to preschool kids carrying their Muppet babies with them. So I looked over there, and he's walking over to a kindergarten class, and there's a little kid sitting in the kindergarten class, 6 years old, and he's wearing my tackle's jersey. And he has his game face painted on, just like my all-state tackle wore every night when he went into battle. So I said, okay. I called my quarterback over. I spent about 10 minutes with him, and then I turned around and I said, okay, now it's time for to get my tackle. I turned around and looked, and he wasn't there. So I asked a guy, I said, man, where did he go? And he said, last time I saw him, he was walking down the hall. So I go walking down the hall, and I'm pretty put out at this point, right? And I look down there, and outside one of the classrooms, there are just hordes of people climbing up over one another trying to look in this classroom. So I walked down there, and I said, holy cow, what's going on? And this little fourth grade girl says, oh, this is the greatest day ever. Big Nate's reading Where the Wild Things Are. Alls I can tell you, the scene that confronted me, it looked like the Beatles had come to America. People swooning, trying to get up there to see what's going on. So finally I looked up in there, and sure as the world, he's sitting there with a couple little kindergartners on each knee. And he said, and they roared their terrible roar, and they gnashed their terrible teeth, and they did the wild thing, rumpus, 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 rumpus. Once I caught his eye, I said, get out here. He came walking out there. I said, my God, what are you doing? We're playing the Leroy Bears. He said, it's okay, Dad. You read that book to me when I was a kid. You got to give back. Let's go smoke Leroy. Do a kindness for someone they can't possibly repay. So we got on the bus and we drove down to Leroy. We actually beat Leroy, held them scoreless in their stadium for the first time in 20 years. And on the way back, we're stopping to get the kids something to eat. And we go into a McDonald's. And I'm standing in line there in McDonald's, and this elder lady is walking right up beside me. And she walks up there and she says, I would like 5 double cheeseburgers, please. And they tell her that'll be $5.47. So she reaches in her pocketbook, she pulls out one cash dollar, and then she starts digging and trying to pull out the white money in there. Y'all know what that is, right? Y'all could use all them credit cards and debit cards, okay? Quarters, nickels, and dimes, okay? So she gets there, and then she gets in there, and she's into the pennies. And she lays it all out there, and the lady says, ma'am, you got $4.92. And I bowed all up. I said, oh, ma'am, no problem. Here's $1 for you. And I felt all good about myself. And I saw her get the 5 cheeseburgers. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And she walked out in her whole worn-out old car, probably a 72 Vega. I heard the door squeak open when she got in. Well, she got up in there, and we got our burgers, and we got in the bus, and we were leaving behind her. Man, I was feeling really good. Here I am, Good Samaritan, done gave her $1. So we pull up there toward an off-ramp, and she stops the car. The bus slams on brakes. She's got her flashers on. Everybody's going, what in the world's going on? Then you saw this guy. He was wearing army fatigue breeches. He had an old threadbare T-shirt on. He had a dog over there. You know him. He lives in the underpass up here. Or maybe it's down on McFarland. And he walked out to the car, and she rolled the window down, and she stuck that sack of burgers out. And he took them, and he ate ravenously. And I was so ashamed. I gave $1, and she gave everything. You do a kindness for someone they can't possibly repay. So the next morning, it's a Saturday morning, I'm getting up and I'm going there and we're getting ready to prepare for the state semifinals. But before I go into the office, I go by the Alabama track. I see a whole big bunch of commotion down there. I can tell there's a track meet going on. My wife will tell you that if I'm driving down Highway 69 South and I see two kids racing in a field, I'll stop. So I go up in there to the track to try to figure out what's going on, and I wander in there real naively. It's a Special Olympics meet. If you've never been to one, go. It will change you. So I go walking up in there naively, and this sweet old lady grabs me. Come on, honey, you're working. I go, no, ma'am. I'm just down here to see what's going on. She goes, stand in lane 3. They're going to run a race down here. I go, well, what am I supposed to do in lane 3? When the kid in lane 3 finishes, you give him a hug. So they're running the 100-yard dash. A gun goes off. My guy in lane 3, Lord help. He labored and he worked and he toiled, and the harder he worked and the faster he tried to go, the further behind he got. So the winner's finished, and a couple seconds later, here he comes across lane 3. And he comes up and he approaches me, and you can see in his eyes that he knew. He knew that he was dead last. So I gave him a hug. He laid his head up on my chest, and I said, hey, buddy, you did really good. I said, man, that was real good. In fact, I'm inspired. That head popped up off my chest. He looked up in my face, and you could see a total transformation go over him. He said, inspired? He shuffled over to the first section of the stands. Usain Bolt had nothing on him. He popped that pose up there, and the people in that section started to applaud. And then he starts doing his hands like this. And that whole section of the stand stands up. It got good to him. So he went down to the next section. He's getting them up. Everybody's starting to stand and applaud. He goes down to the third section. He takes his shirt off, starts whooping it around his head, and the crowd is going wild. Well, I'm totally stunned down there. I'm standing down there looking at him. He looks over that shoulder, points at me and smiles, and then goes on about his business. Just do a kindness for someone they can't possibly repay. So I went back to my guy. I told him, I said, okay, I got it. He said, boy, you struggle with it, right? And I go, man, I really struggle with it because I was thinking too big. He said, just do a kindness for somebody they can't possibly repay. I go, good, give me the second thing that I have to do. He said, well, believe it or not, for me to give that to you, I got to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the story of Beowulf. I usually hear a bunch of groans on that, okay? Right? You probably think about Beowulf the way I do, right? I hated Beowulf. I told my guy, I said, I hate Beowulf. He says, well, I'm going to tell it to you Alabama style. I said, good, I need that translation. And he said, well, here's the deal. He said, Rugar was the king of the Danes. And he had this fancy auditorium like this. It was called Mead Hall. And he said Grendel was a giant. And Grendel come up from the backwater part of Scandinavia. And he come up there and he was creating a big ruckus up in the Mead Hall. Night after night after night. So finally, they recruited Beowulf, a Danish hero, to come deal with Grendel. Well, Grendel and Beowulf got up in it, and it was an epic battle. And finally, Beowulf takes his sword, he chops off Grendel's arm, he grabbed that arm up, and he commenced to whooping him with it. And he whooped him so bad that finally he killed Grendel. But boy, it took a lot out of Beowulf. Man, he white-eyed out there, okay? So they had to put Beowulf to bed. So Beowulf's up in there resting, you know, because he's taking everything he had. Well, I told you Grendel come from the backwoods part of Scandinavia, and his mama, who was a big woman, even for a giant, found out what they'd done to her baby. So she come up into Mead Hall, and she's going to avenge Grendel. And the king said, holy cow, we thought Grendel was bad. This woman is slap crazy. And somebody got to go get Beowulf out here to whoop the mama too. And they said, Beowulf can't do no more whooping. He's tired. And they said, well, look, here's what you do. Invite Beowulf in. We'll tell him we're having this big celebration for him, and we'll sucker him into it. So they bring Beowulf in, sure enough, and they give Beowulf this fancy sword. And Beowulf's like, man, I'm glad they're showing me a little respect around here. And then they give Beowulf this big shield. It had big diamond, emerald things all up in it. And Beowulf's like, now I'm kind of liking this. And then they said to Beowulf this, Grendel's mama come in town. She's a real handful, and we need you to do again what you have done. To do it again, and that's the second step. You go do a kindness for somebody they can't possibly repay. Maybe it's stopping something important you're doing to read a book to a kid. Maybe it's sticking a sack out a car window. Maybe it's hugging a youth in lane 3. And then you do it again and again and again. And here's what I'll tell you the beauty of that advice is that I've learned over the years. If you will endeavor to do that enough, there comes a time when you lose sight of who's doing the giving and who's doing the taking. Our world is changed by ordinary people. Good luck to you. I'm proud of you. Go Bucks.
We are here to recognize the achievements of the 2018 graduating class of Shelton State Community College. This is a very important occasion for the graduates, their families, and their friends. So that each name can be heard, please hold your applause and celebration until each graduate has been recognized. We also ask that all guests refrain from coming forward for pictures. There will be opportunities for photography following today's ceremony. Will all the candidates for certificates and degrees please rise? Dr. Ashley, all these candidates have met the requirements for a certificate or degree. The faculty and I recommend them for the appropriate certificate or degree.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you a certificate or a degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations, and you may be seated.
During today's ceremony, we will recognize student accomplishments in short-term certificate programs, associate degrees in applied science, and associate degrees in arts and science. Will all the individuals receiving a short-term certificate please rise and come forward to be recognized as your name is called. short-term certificate, diesel mechanics, advanced maintenance. Trequez Shikan Binyan. Diesel mechanics, basic maintenance. Ladarius Dequan Miller. Salon and Spa Management, Cosmetology Instructor, Charlena Riche Carter. Welding, Holly Lynn Logan. Clayton Vault. Wellness Exercise Instructor, Lydia Rose Abernathy. Amber Joy Clayton. Stephanie Sophia Coleman. Ashley Diane Hahn Smith. Kirsten Devon Sanders. La Quintisha Janae Whitfield. Derek Dion Wynn. You may be seated. Will all the individuals receiving their certificate please rise and come forward to be recognized as your name is called. Child Development, Christy Louise Ward. Engineering, Graphics, and Design Technology, James Lewis Donahue. Salon and Spa Management, Cosmetology, Tanisha Regine Bell. Juliana Dearman. Salon and Spa Management, Cosmetology Instructor Training, receiving 2 certificates, Salon Spa Management Cosmetology, Salon and Spa Management Cosmetology Instructor Training, Laura Janella Sturdivant. Salon and Spa Management Cosmetology Aesthetics, Morgan Diane Gaddy. You may be seated. Will all the individuals receiving an associate in applied science degree please rise and come forward to be recognized as your name is called. Automotive Service Technology, Christopher O. Bell. Maurice Terrell Kirkland. Traymon Lewis. Business Office Management and Technology, Bookkeeping and Accounting, Christina Michelle Sturdivant. Business Office Management and Technology, Information Processing, 2 degrees, Information Processing, Certificate, and Associate in Applied Science Information Technology, Brittany Renee Taylor. Business Office Management, Technology, and Paralegal, Brittany Nicole Lynn. Lauren Alisa McDaniel. 2 certificates. Taylor Elizabeth Rogers. Child Development, Associate in Applied Science, Sadidra Stanlise Jones. Mary Samuel. Christian J. Williams. Culinary Arts, Dion M. Wilkins. Electrical Technology, Aisha Alhaja. Tate Donnelly Bond. James A. Sprinkle. Engineering, Graphics, and Design Technology, Elijah Lee Walter Neville. Jacob Daniel Bailey, Industrial Technology. Brendan Alex Coriano. Landon Lee Driggins. Tyler Lee Fuqua. LaKendrick Cadero Gilbert. Jaron Jaquil Hartnick. Jacob Michael Knight. Colby Kramer. Akilo Amare Lavender. 2 certificates, Diesel Mechanics, Industrial Electronics Technology. Joshua McKinley Martin. Markham Chancellor Merdesi. Kwasi Akeem Peoples. Hunter Vestale. Morgan Garrett Vestale. Angelos Morris Washington. Machine Tool Technology, Patrick Dennis Gilliland. Applied Science and Culinary Arts, Darlena Lockett. Management and Supervision, General Business, Stanley J. Ross. Brianna Kiera Spencer. Katanya Bagby Stewart. Darnell Keith Thomas. Management and Supervision, Information Technology, Sarah Elizabeth Pruitt. Management and Supervision, Wellness and Fitness Management, Jordan Payne Phillips. Hannah Van Picasso. Associate in Applied Science, Nursing, Brandon Jabari Abrams. Kayla Rebecca Adams. Erica Denise Blair. Katie Eaton Brady. Brooke Lynette Butler. Maria Elise Creighton. Valerie D. Dent. Haley Rachel Elam. Molly Virginia Hall. Peyton Aaron Hamby. Julia M. Hatch. Jared Dwayne Hutchins. Jeremy Quiones Martez Inge. Kelsey May Johnson. Melissa Catherine Jones. Shanna Carol Kimball. Cammie Ulissa Lathan. Joey Elizabeth Laycock. Lori Rochelle Ledlow. Kaylin Grace Light. LaRonda Gail Lawler. Macy Lauren Massingale. Molly Don Matherson. Billy J. McVeigh. Caitlin Nicole Neighbors. Robin Lynn Parker. Pimrata Bunsa Pinto. Sarah Elizabeth Powers. Megan J. Quimby. Brandy Nicole Rhodes. Anna Casey Rice. Taylor Nicole Rogers. Lakeisha LaShawn Rollins. Jacqueline Aurora Salinas. Megan Ann Sample. Clarice O. Sagino. Angelica Nikita Waller. Kimberly Michelle Watson. Derek E. Whitfield. Macquarius O'Neill Williams. Sadie Elizabeth Wright. Shelby Noel Young. You may be seated. Will all the individuals receiving an associate in applied science degree please rise and come forward to be recognized as your name is called? Will all the individuals receiving an associate in arts degree please rise and come forward to be recognized as your name is called? Associate in Arts, General Studies, Dominique Janae Cato. Haley L. Champion. Tabitha Lee Cooley. Brittany Kathleen England. Michael Hunter Geralds. Megan Claire Hammett. Regine Aaliyah Jackson. Kiana Rashana Little. Robert Allen Lockhart. Zachary Scott Wheeler. Francesca Latrice Witherspoon. You may be seated. Will all the individuals receiving an associate in science degree please rise and come forward to be recognized as your name is called? General Studies, Yara Imad Akul. Alisa Yvonne Carter. Carrie Sidney Cook. Dana Eccles. Kelsey Monique Evans. Raisa C. Freeman. Lauren McKaylin Galiogos. Heather Rebecca Geralds. Casey Madison Glass. Ariana Justine Gray. Austin Hardy. Derica Elisa Harris. William Jesse Hodges IV. Haley Elizabeth Horton. Matthew Horton. Sierra Johnson. Courtney Morgan Johnson. Hannah Catherine Kirkpatrick. Audrey Sue Cost. Catherine Bingham Lane. Tricia Langham. Tiana Leatherwood. Jordan Lynn Armani Lenoir. Ivory Moore. Charles Norman. Jovan Penny. Shondell Peoples. Jocelyn Powell. Jalil Raleigh. Savannah Reer. Abby Elizabeth Reynolds. Maggie Robinson. Caitlin Nicole Sanford. Courtney Renee Saunders. Ashley Scott. Trent Hayes Stein. Michael Lee Summerlin. Alex Thomas. Brandon Tyler Turner. Tyler Elaine Yarbrough. You may be seated. Now, would all graduates please stand? It's now time to change your tassels from right to left. And let us congratulate all the graduates with our cheers and applause.
You may be seated. Thank you all for a memorable morning, and I offer my congratulations again to this graduating class. How about one more round of applause for our graduates? Before we conclude, graduates are reminded to please leave your diploma covers in your chairs. Family and friends, you may meet your graduate in the atrium, where you are also invited to join us for a reception. Photo opportunities will be available there and by the clock tower. We now ask our guests to stand and remain standing until our graduates and faculty have exited.